The United States Border Patrol has exciting and rewarding career opportunities with the nation's largest law enforcement organization. Border Patrol agents enjoy great pay, outstanding federal benefits, and up to $20,000 in recruitment incentives. If you are looking for a way to serve something greater than yourself, consider the U.S. Border Patrol. Learn more online at cbp.gov/careers/USBP. That's cbp.gov/careers/USBP.
I need new music.
Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO. It is time to discover new music, and a band that we have been discovering since the late 90s, really 2000, after the release of Infest, and ever since then. Now we're on album number 11, believe it or not, all these years later. Crazy. Joining me, he's the master of the bass. He slaps it a lot. It's Tobin. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good, dude. I was just thinking about how a long time ago, how way back we go. I mean, just as a band, you know, like when you say late 90s, I'm like, damn, that's kind of a long time ago.
Yeah, a little bit. You're now on like second generation of Papa Roach fans. I don't know if that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that's wild. And that's what's really cool is when you look out and like you see like the young kids, you know, teenage. You see like, you know, the older 40s crowd, maybe even older than that, and then even a lot of females too.
Mm-hmm.
So
those female rockers finally getting the, you know, what they deserve after having to sit in the back with all of us dirty guys in there. Now the ladies are coming out. It's nice.
Yeah, dude, it's nice, dude. And it's good for the gentlemen. They appreciate that too, you know?
Of course. Well, it is great that we are here in 2022, even with all the craziness going on, that we get to say brand new Papa Roach, your 11th studio album. It's a banger, man. We got it released on the 8th, right? You guys like basically announced it and released it. That was an interesting take. Did you just like, hell, let's get it out there?
Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, like the beginning, like the first two songs that we started for this record began in 2019.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's when we kicked off writing new music. And then 2020 pandemic lockdown, we just decided to get into the studio when even people were saying, you know, you shouldn't go out in public. You know, we were just like, oh, we have to capture this like sense of urgency that's in the air right now. You know, it was like the whole world is in a very vulnerable place just on all fronts. So it was like, we needed to be creative because we were inspired, and we needed to, plus we were just going crazy sitting at home, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so in 2020, we rented a big house and had a bunch of fun, just, you know, confined to this one spot that we turned into a studio, you know, literally just an Airbnb, and just had so much fun for a month, wrote a ton of music, came out of that, decided that we should just finish it and call it a record and put it out when it feels like it's the right time. And finally, April 8th, you know, felt like the right time. So
right there. Let's get it out. Well, we're so excited to have it. You mentioned, so the first song you guys started working on in 2019, that was released. We had Swerve. Then you guys did Kill the Noise. Then
Kill the Noise was the first song actually that we wrote.
The first one.
Yeah. Swerve was actually the last song we wrote when we were already in the studio finishing up the record. Swerve was like a song that we just added at the last minute.
Oh, okay. And that was then you're like, hey, we like this. Let's throw it on. And then that became the first single then that came out.
Yeah, well, I just thought it was fun. We were kind of on a roll with doing these collaborations, you know, and for us, that was really exciting. And I think people were getting into it, you know. It just seems like everyone's really into the whole collab thing right now.
And I think it fits Papa Roach. You guys you blend so well with so many different genres. And of course, if anyone's wondering, if you don't know, you had Jason Butler from Fever 333. Yeah. And then is it Suko? I got to get Swayco. I got to get better at my rap names.
Yeah. I mean, both of those guys are just, they have such an authentic thing going on. You know, they're just a beast of performers and artists on their own. And, you know, it's just us making friends and, you know, hanging out with people that we really respect and love creatively. And, you know, because Papa Roach was never from a scene ever to begin with. We've always kind of been like the odd men out. So it's just like making friends right now and having fun, making music is what it's all about.
I love it, man. And speaking of collabs, one of my favorite, and it blew me away. I'll never forget this. It was at Rock on the Range, and it had to be, I think, 2018 or 20. But either way, you guys are out on stage, and then you brought the marching band, part of the marching band out. Oh my God. It was so loud and so amazing. That was one of the coolest collaborations I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, that was so fun. We actually are releasing another marching band thing that we did. It's an exclusive, I think, through Amazon, but it'll be coming out soon. It's for one of our newer songs, Stand Up.
Killer, man. We can't wait. You guys are obviously staying busy.
Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO. It's time for JJO Discover New Music. Our guest this week is Tobin from Papa Roach, talking about the new release, Ego Trip.
So we're on the 5th single, Cut the Line. That was released March 1st. With this album, and I kind of wanted to, again, throw back to the early days. You know, you guys are on the Mount Rushmore of new metal, the new metal sound that just ruled the late 90s and early 2000s. And then it kind of faded away. Does that new label or new metal label, is that still something you kind of hang your hat on? Is it not something you really worry about when it comes to the sound? Because that was so big, you know, that was right in that major growth and meteoric rise that you guys had. Is it still a sound you look for? Or is it kind of, let's just do what we want to do?
It's definitely not something that we look for. We've never looked for it. We just do it. Whatever we want, and people can tell by listening to our music, like all of our records are kind of different. Songs are different. We're always just experimenting and having fun, making different types of music, not just within one sound, but the genre, like new metal. I feel like a lot of bands especially try to get away from it and hate on it, but I'm like, dude, it is what it is. Like it was a time when people were really enjoying music and hard rock music was in the mainstream. Mm-hmm. We're talking like MTV was banging everyone from, Korn, Deftones, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park. It was like, I'm grateful for that. You know what I mean? There's definitely a time when we've tried to prove, okay, well, we're not just a new metal band. We're capable of doing so much more than just that. And we've done that, and we're proud to still be making music. And there's a resurgence with the whole new metal thing. Like there's so many new bands that are coming out and they're like, oh, we love that new metal. And you go to like these emo night things, you know what I mean? And I'm like, they call it emo night. And I'm like, you guys are playing all the new metals. Those are the ones the crowds are going crazy for, like you play Last Resort, you're playing System of a Down and, and Slipknot and all that stuff. And people get most excited. So it's like, dude, it was an exciting time in music, I think.
And it was, especially for me. I mean, I graduated in 2004 and that's when Getting Away with Murder dropped. So like for me, it was all in that. And now everyone my age and kind of going on, we're having kids that we're having listening to, Getting Away with Murder and all those new metal sounds. And like you said, too, there's a resurgence on that. And I think we're seeing these younger artists that grew up and now maybe finding this older stuff or, the new metal genre that are bringing it back in, not just in that one, kind of pigeonhole sound, but all over the place. So I love it. So for what it's worth, buddy, you'll never get me to turn off my new metal, no matter what. So I'll keep playing it. Do you have a favorite track on the album? I know we've had so many releases. Is there one that really speaks to you?
Yeah, like every day there's a new song that becomes like one that I'm feeling, because I'm really proud of all of them because they're all so different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they all have their own like emotional like connection. I have, is different for whatever reason. Like this song I love working out to, or this song I love just showing people. Like, like a song like Leave a Light On. It's like my wife loves that song. My grandma loves that song. You know what I mean? But then for me personally, it's right now it's Always Wondering. Okay. It'll probably change next week. And No Apologies is another one that I think is going to be like the next single that we're releasing.
Nice. I think it's cool that you're able to find, different songs for different days or different moods. And I know obviously with you guys working on this since 2019, you're probably pretty familiar with the track listing and where it's at.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, for everyone who maybe is just joining us, the new album, Ego Trip from Papa Roach, released. It's out there. It's in the world. Go get it and enjoy it. And 11 albums in. That it's got to take you a beat every once in a while to think like, man, here we are 11 albums in when you guys were young kids. Well, hell, you started off as a roadie and then got into the band after the fact. And now here we are 11 albums, 20 some odd years later. Is that fun to hear? Is that like, oh man, that's crazy.
Well, actually, I mean, that's not actually a true. I was never a roadie. Well, I was at one point, but I didn't do shit. Like I didn't help out at all.
So you were a terrible roadie. You were terrible. You were just kind of hanging around.
I never loaded up the van. I never knew how to connect anything. They just, for a period that when I met the guys, cause they're older, right? So I'm like the youngest one in the band. I met the guys, I started playing as like a fill-in bass player, just when they started playing like parties and small clubs and bars. And it was like, I always had to wait outside because I wasn't old enough, to be in the bars, and I couldn't get into the clubs. But they needed a bass player. So I was like this fill-in guy for a year. And then they got their other bass player to come back. And he was in the band for like, I don't know, 6-8 months or something like that. And then he would always have to leave and go do work things and like church camps and stuff like that. And they were just tired of it because they were starting to get to a point where, we were touring outside of our like hometown. We were going to LA and starting to get gigs at, the Sunset Strip and stuff like that. And then they're like, okay, he's dedicated. He's always available. Let's just bring him into the band. So I've been in the band ever since. In that short period of time when I wasn't playing with them, I would go to all the shows with them. And I would just drink the beer and smoke all the weed, and I didn't lift a finger. And somehow somebody probably wrote in our Wikipedia that I was a roadie when I didn't do shit.
So you were there, but not in a working capacity. Like, I'll hang out, I'll have a few beers. And then look, hey, it worked out, buddy. It worked out.
Oh, no, it worked out. I remember some legendary shows that, I just would be running around backstage. I don't know how I got into these clubs. I wasn't old enough. I was probably like 15, like I remember Deftones and like Suicidal Tendencies and all of these bands. And Papa Roach would be the opening band. And I'd just be running around, just like soaking in this moment in time where music, that like kind of beginning of nu metal was like, before it was like a big thing, it was happening. And it was awesome to be a part of at a young age.
Well, I'll have to scold my source finders and make sure that everyone knows he was not a roadie. But if he was terrible at it. And so they just said he's a better band member than he is a roadie. That's where we're at. He's a better bass player than he is at plugging stuff in.
Well, what's crazy is now I make it a point to like be very tech oriented now. Like I have to know what all the buttons do. I got to read all the manuals for everything. I appreciate that. And I have so much love and respect for our crew, and the people that have that work for us, because we couldn't make this thing go through and happen on a nightly basis if it wasn't for having like, a responsible crew guys. And also too, like we live vicariously through them, cause they're younger and crazier. And sometimes it's just like, they entertain us. You know what I mean? But every now and then I let real loose, and then I end up entertaining everyone.
Oh, I believe it. Bass players usually that way.
Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO. It's time for JJO Discover New Music. Our guest this week is Tobin from Papa Roach, talking about the new release, Ego Trip.
Now, I noticed the album work. Is that a nod to Infest? There's a Bughead on there. And is that just a coincidence, or is that a nod to Infest?
Yeah, that's kind of like a modern Cockroach, which is like, our icon, our logo. But the whole thing, like, we just felt like this whole record for us is an adventure. It's a journey. It's a wild ride, Yeah. And so that's why we came with this like theme park, you know what I mean? This like theme park look.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the abandoned theme park, because there's abandoned theme park in New Orleans that we're really inspired by. Like we saw a bunch of photos of this place and we were like, man, like it's like the death of an ego. Like the whole world needs to just take a step back and just bring themselves back down to, like the reality, and everybody has to do that at times. And that's what, our music just gives that vibe and that sense of hope as well, that, we can get through all this bullshit and there's always another day to try and make things better, for yourself and others. So it's like, yeah, I mean, we're just getting a little weird and plus the whole trip, we were tripping out the whole time we were making the record. So it was just kind of like, I don't know, ego trip, feeling it.
One to remember for sure. Well, I love it. I love the artwork, and I'm sure people will see it and get more familiar with it out there. As far as you said, you had so much fun with this record. Was this an interesting record? Is this one maybe when you look back, you'd be like, oh yeah, I mean, it'll stand out to you in the making process. I'm sure it's always, something that's in your mind. You probably remember crazy little things that happened, but with the way this one is, and I don't know, maybe being locked in there with each other for that time, is this one that really kind of maybe will kind of stay embedded and really stand out when you look back at the career of Papa Roach?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it was just another transitional period for us. I mean, not only was, the whole world, like I said before, going through this, we were all experiencing this first of like a world pandemic, you know what I mean? But the fact that we were like transitioning into being, an independent band, label, everything, we're doing it all ourselves. So it's like, we built this team around us and we made it so that only our team was together living in this house, having fun, riding motorcycles, like swimming, not being in like that stale studio work environment, but just bringing all of the guitars and all of the recording devices and stuff into this house where we could just like, we had a live-in chef, we're very grateful. We got to be spoiled a little bit, you know what I mean? And like have someone just cooking food for us and barbecuing and, drinking good wine and just like hanging out, literally eat, sleep, and breathe, just creative music making at all hours of the day and night. And that was such a great memory because it's like our producers, our engineers, our techs, like the chef guy, the social media guy that we had with us, everybody documented that we're all friends, like best friends and family. And then we're always going to have that memory. It was such a fun experience. And it's like, man, especially when we've been doing it as long as we have, it's your 11th record. You better have fun. It better be an experience making music. Otherwise it's like, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm so happy that you guys got to have that a silver lining and everything that was going on. And now we have a brand new Papa Roach album, which is just amazing and something that I'm sure everyone is looking forward to, and just a unique take on this one, especially for guys who've been veterans. I mean, you're veterans in this now and still experiencing something new and doing something new.
Right.
Almost kind of takes me back to the old style, the old way they used to make records. You hear about Aerosmith who rented out a mansion, or, Fleetwood Mac staying. It's kind of a very retro way of making a record.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we've always been inspired by that. I mean, I grew up watching, there's a documentary. It's a really great one, black and white, called Funky Monks, about the Red Hot Chili Peppers making Blood Sugar Sex Magic in the Laurel Canyon mansion. And I've always thought that was cool, just all living together, all being in this environment where it's like, you don't have to like drive or get into traffic or, like clock in and clock out and worrying about like how much studio time costs. You know what I mean? You're just like, let's just rent the biggest house we can afford and move everyone in and just party and make music. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it, man. Well, and it shows in the music too, because we've already again 5 singles deep, and there's more to come, and the touring and all that stuff. So we are very, very excited about that. So he may be a terrible roadie, but he's one hell of a bass player, and he knows how to put on a great record with the guys there at Papa Roach. So Ego Trip out now from Papa Roach. Get it, add it to your collection, down whatever you got to do.
Steal it. Whatever.
Do whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Tobin, do you have time to do a quick little rapid fire with Tobin? Sure. Can we do that? All right.
Oh, rapid fire. I'm ready.
Rapid fire. Now, there's no wrong answers. All right. Just you go with your emotions, whatever you're feeling. Okay. Let's start off with some bass stuff. All right.
All right.
Geddy Lee or Les Claypool?
Oh man. Both of them are kind of like really not my jam, but I'm going to go with Geddy Lee just because he was first.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Again, no wrong answers. What about we'll do Lemmy or Bootsy Collins?
Oh man, this is hard because Lemmy, they're so different, but Bootsy, because that's where, I mean, I gravitate towards the funk always.
Very nice. That was a surprise because Lemmy is God, so that's tough, but I like it. I like it. All right, let's ease it up a little bit. I threw two hard ones at you. What about bumper boats or bumper cars?
Bumper boats sounds kind of fun.
You get wedged in the corner and you can't get out of there. That's the only bad part.
Yeah.
Disco or techno?
Oh, they're the same. Actually, no, I'm down with disco. Yeah, because Nile Rodgers, like all those hits that he had in the 70s. Man, he's an amazing guitar player. He's written some incredible songs. So I'm gonna go with disco.
Yeah, some people don't give disco enough credit with the guitars. You got that nice high pitch. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, the funk. Bring it back around to the funk again.
What about chili dog or corn dog?
Corn dog all the way, straight from the fair. Straight,
nice.
Just like with a little bit of mustard on it, dude. You're a little well done. You don't want those soft corn dogs.
No, that's weird. That you could tell that they were frozen way too long, and then it just doesn't translate well. Loch Ness Monster or El Chupacabra? Which one would you want to see?
El Chupacabra.
Very nice. Scary. Last one. This is the most important one. Most important question of the whole thing. Would you rather take one punch from Mike Tyson or 100 punches from the Where's the Beef lady?
Oh, man, you know what? It would be an honor, honestly, to get punched by Mike Tyson, dude. I love Mike Tyson. As long as we could both like eat a bunch of shrooms and then I'll just let him punch me. I wonder if I'd feel it. It would probably, I don't know. Yeah, it's a true test. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, can you just take a punch from Mike Tyson?
I don't know how many times I've asked this question. Not once has someone said, I think it'd be okay if I just took some shrooms with Mike and then right there, you just get the cold cock. I love it.
Yeah, dude, I got a high pain tolerance. That's all right.
Yeah. All right. Well, you ballsy son of a bitch. I like it. Well, Tobin, thank you so much for the time. Everyone, once again, Ego Trip out now. Papa Roach, their 11th album. Get it. And then I'm sure we're going to be seeing them out there live in concert very, very soon. Tobin, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much.
You.
Discover new music now on the homepage of WJJO.com, in the JJO app, or wherever you get your podcasts.